Okay, so follow-up session number 2 on April the 6th. So this morning we're going to take a look at, we're going to, catch up, find out what's going on, what you're doing on your 30-day plan. And we're also going to look at Jesus's LOI that he is submitting right now in Indianapolis. And again, that's another one that's not coming up, but let me get that going while we're talking here. Okay, who wants to bring us up to date on what they're doing? Who's first?
I'll go.
Okay.
Just been continuing everything that we spoke about last week. Working on my website, getting a new symbol design for my logo so it looks more like multi-family instead of like a single family home. I'm going to go on Fiverr today and find somebody who can put my presentation into a PowerPoint and make it all look all nice for my website. I'm just going to continue reaching out to investors. And I'm actually going to start calling some brokers in the Raleigh area just because it's the only area that I've been focusing on that nobody's called me back from yet. So I'll just continue to, look for people who can send me listings or deals in that area.
Okay, the Raleigh Durham. Okay. All right, great. Investors, where are you finding investors? What's your best source right now?
I'm just trying to reach out to people that I know and see if they know anybody as well.
Okay, perfect. All right. That's the best thing for right now is, reconnect with anybody and everybody who could potentially be an investor, knows investors, is curious about the space. I find that so many people are curious about the multifamily space. And if I think back to how I was 7-8 years ago, I was curious also, but I had some mental blocks. I've shared this with you. So I'm just, I'm saying that because these people that you find out that are curious, I think the next level of conversation is, so what's holding you back? Like, what's your thinking? Like, what are the roadblocks here? And mine was like the size of the money that I thought I had to bring. And I didn't know the business, so I didn't have the knowledge. I wasn't comfortable, talking about it, investing in it. And I didn't have a deal flow. Like, where am I going to find these, 100 doors that nobody wants that I can pick up? So, I think that's very similar conversation. And so when you come across people that are potential investors or potential operators, okay, like yourself, then have that conversation with them. Like, what's holding you back? And then, because you guys got enough knowledge now where you can overcome those objections and help them come to the next level and bring them onto your team. Okay. All right. Good job. That Fiverr, you'll find that, and this is for you too, Peter. When you go to Fiverr, you'll find a lot of vendors. You just got to type in exactly what you're looking for. But you'll find vendors that have templates and they plug in your information. I would not suggest to get anything that's customized. I'd go the template route because you're going to turn, a $35 job into a $235 job. If it's not template. If it's template, they can slide it in, get it in the next, couple of days.
Right? Gotcha.
And that goes for the intro outro. That intro outro was a template. And I just communicated with the person and I just said, tweak it here, tweak it there, tweak it here. And I had it in 48 hours. Right. So
yeah, she's working on it. I'll see. I gave her a background, but she said it might not work. So if that doesn't work, I'll just say, oh, put it in your regular template.
Okay. So let's go to, thank you, Brad, for that. And of course, we're going to submit a bio with your offer, and we'll get that over to you today. Okay. So Peter, let's go to you because I have some feedback on your video.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Peter's video circulating around? Okay, it's on Facebook and various places. Maybe you can share it with them. Share it in the group. Okay.
Yeah, I changed my name on Instagram to think_re_think_big.
Okay.
And because when you put a space in, it automatically puts in an underscore.
So if I'm
So
talking to Brad, and I say, hey, this guy Peter knows his shit, go find him on Instagram.
already think big. Just
Okay,
type
how
that
easy
in.
how easy is that for me to communicate that to you? I'm just giving you food for thought here, okay?
Is that too long?
Whereas if I say, hey, Jesus is on Instagram and he knows his shit, go, it's under Jesus Ramirez.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
See what I'm saying?
all right.
Could be Peter Sylvester Invests. Could be, Peter Investor. Yeah, I'm just a little. I'm kind of into the personal branding thing, right? Because like people are
Yeah.
going to buy from you, Peter. They get to know you. They get to know you, what you stand for. You know, they get to know who you are, and it's my opinion that they're going to buy from you. So it's make it easy for me to find you. Like this guy Gary Vaynerchuk. You all know Vaynerchuk, right? So I mean that's so hard to spell his last name. So he's just like Gary V. Hey, everybody, go to Gary V. Go to Gary V. Right?
Yeah.
And he was one of the pioneers in social media video, and he's easy to find. So just contemplate that, okay?
Okay.
But here's the feedback I was going to give you. So that video where you're standing in the courtyard there, and there's the vines are on the fence, and you're in a
Mhm.
jacket and everything. That's a really nice video, dude. And the message is nice. In fact, when it came up, I thought it was a sponsored ad. I'm like, ooh, this dude's taking it to the next level. Okay. So is that Melissa in the background?
Yeah, because she videotaped it, so that's a great compliment for her.
Thank you.
Yeah. So she's like, don't puff him up too much, Paul. No, but I thought it was a sponsored ad, and so it made me think, oh, okay, he's ready to go sponsored ad, right? So my point is really there that it was a nice presentation, it was nice lighting, it was it was well done. You see some of these sponsored ads sometimes, and that that face is right there. I'm like, dude, give me back off a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah. Like Mark. So anyway, all the elements of that was real nice. So I know you've had a little concern about video and stuff, but if you can ditto that for a
Well,
while.
I shot that 3 different times and it just went off the cuff of what I said. I didn't have it scripted, although I had it in my mind what I wanted to talk about. But the first one I did it inside, and it looked like I'm in this weird house hidden away in some weird part of Texas, which I am. And then the next one I did it out feeding the donkeys and chickens, but then you see the crappy barn in the background, so that didn't look good. So then shoot, I'm just going to do it a third time, and then third time's the charm.
Yep, it worked.
Yeah.
And so you other guys, you think about, watch him and think about how you can implement that, right? So all right, so tell me more about what you've been doing over on your plan, Peter.
Well, so that video alone, my accountant, because I called out accountants, say they don't know anything about this kind of stuff, which they don't. I've had sellers go to their accountant. The accountant says, I don't know anything about it. And then they are shown one of those programs like Nina talked about, and the accountant reads it and discovers, okay, it is real, it is legal. So my accountant said, I want to be on your team. And now he's pitching that video all around his social media.
Perfect. So does he, okay, so here's an idea. These CPAs have clients, and those clients have money to invest, and they need some CPA in, right? So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
If you could do a virtual summit or a virtual presentation or a virtual town hall, whatever you want, with the CPA and his clients, like just tell him, hey, get 10 of your best clients on a Zoom, and I'll give you the upshot, the benefits to multifamily investing, to how you can get into multifamily investing, passive investor, the ways, right? And what the end eventuality is of once you sell it, now you can do this other strategy that you teach, right?
Exactly.
but but a team effort with your CPA. Okay.
And you're saying like a town hall with his clients?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And see, and you just tell him, say, listen, CPA, I'm gonna just give, your people a 20, 30-minute overview of multifamily apartment investing. And if they're going to be in a multi-platform, what they can do with usable cash, okay, lazy money, or investable cash, I should say. So investable cash. And once they do something with that investable cash and they see the returns, they're going to need your services to CPA that.
Yeah.
Right. They got to have bookkeepers. They got to have cost segregation accountants. They got to have, tax preparation, etc. So it's you help me, I help you, we help them, everybody helps.
We didn't discuss one of the most important things about multifamily property investing.
Depreciation.
Yes, 27 and a half.
Yeah. Depreciation and cost segregation, it's huge, right? So you get into your first deal and then we'll cover that. How's that?
I'm on it.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Peter, you want to tell us about your plan?
That's it for now. I've got to really work on the other stuff, like calling investors, and I think they're all hunkered down. I called one and they didn't return my call yet, but I got to reach out, and I haven't reached out to some of the others that I do know and talk to. So I just got to go through the phone and just call them and see where they're at, see how they're doing, and if they're ready to plug in some money, especially the guy that I know that invests in Indiana. If you guys have an LOI going out, I'd like to get moving on that as soon as you have a sheet of numbers and 1 or 2 photos, which you already do have a bunch of photos on that property. I'd love to show it to some investors.
Okay, there you go, Jesus.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to submit the LOI this week.
Great.
Yeah, we're going to review that here in a minute with the team, okay? Because he sent it to me. Mark, tell us about your 30 days.
Well, I can tell you what I did over the weekend.
Okay.
Related to this. I reconnected with a couple of people I did some bird dog work for a couple of years ago. And all of them pretty much said, I want to see how people pay their rents over the next few days before I decide to even bother to look at anything, because they get tired of looking at stuff that they don't know if they're going to proceed with, if rents are going to be bad.
Okay. At this moment, let me say that this moment, I'm not experiencing any problems. Now,
Okay.
today's the 6th, right? So the 5th, everything was due. I got to check numbers today, but I'm not getting woe is me calls.
Okay. Well, are most of your properties that you're
Most of them
involved
are C plus or B minus. So I'm
Well-
wondering if this would be more affected. It would be affecting more C minus and D properties.
That's what I would figure. The lower income, maybe.
Yeah.
That would
So
affect.
I don't have that gauge. I just have the gauge of ours, right?
And are you all the location of the properties that you're involved in? Are they all in Texas?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Georgia, Vegas, North Carolina, Texas.
Wow, even Vegas, because gosh, a lot of hospitality workers are not working. However, they have a lot of unemployment benefits coming their way, but it's going to take several weeks to get it.
Yeah.
Whatever unemployment they're eligible for, the government gives another $600 to that for weeks.
So the bird dog relationship you have, what did you do for the bird dog?
One guy found 2 multifamily properties for. They weren't large.
You found them for him? They found
Yeah.
them for you? You found them for him? Okay.
That were in Ohio.
How did you find those? And when did you find those?
We're going back like 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, one he had a very bad experience with, and I felt kind of bad, but it's not my fault. I guess he has the ultimate decision to make his due diligence. It was apparently the realtor was misrepresenting the property. So maybe that's why he's a little standoffish with me. I don't know if what he told me is true, but that's one guy. Anyway,
Well, this is a new revelation to me from you. Okay. How did you find that, even though it was 10 years ago, regardless, how did you find that off market? Was it off market? How did you find the deal? How did you bird dog the deal? What did you do?
I can't remember. I know it was on a website, and it was listed because the listing realtor misrepresented the property. I don't remember what website it was though, but it was listed property. It needed some some support, some foundation, some structural work.
You just went, hey, you went mute. There you go. It needed structural work?
Yeah, it was some kind of damage to the property. I don't remember. The upper floor, the whole place was vacant, but it was a really good value if it, the repair work came in and the rents were proper. He had a really good upside to it. That was, and the other one was an eightplex that needed all the rents raised.
Are they still in the business?
Metropolitan Medical Specialist. Call from +1 417
Doctor's office. Hold on one second. Doctor's office.
Is that your ringtone?
I love it.
That'll get your attention.
Did it say he was getting a call from Buzz Lightyear?
Yeah, right. That's funny.
I have a doctor's appointment Thursday, so it's an automated message.
Okay. We're more concerned about your ringtone than your doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
We should discuss that, Mark. We're all guys here. Melissa, step into the other room. We should discuss this.
There's no other room. She's stuck.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Only
She's gonna go in
Mark.
the
It's a whole COVID-19 thing.
Yeah, don't go into the doctor's office. Stand outside and we'll throw you your drugs in a bag.
Yeah.
My dentist canceled I'm supposed to have a cavity pulled later this week. Like, nope, stay away. We'll call you. Don't call us, we'll call you.
I don't know what all the estheticians and plastic surgeons are going to do when all this thing clears. They're going to be booked solid from morning to midnight.
Haircuts, manicures, pedicures, massages. So I have a, what do you call it? I have a membership to Massage Envy. And so while we wait for Mark, okay, you get one a month.
Sorry, I had a follow-up doctor's appointment on Thursday, and it was being confirmed, but it's a phone appointment or something. I'm confused.
Anyway, they're all stacking up, okay? Okay, so Mark, let's go back to your bird dog. I like that you did that, and that's a skill set you can repeat.
Well, when I learned that when I bought my first 2 fourplexes after Hurricane Katrina. I bought them in Baton Rouge, and it turned out it was like a not a very good area, even though they kind of told me it wasn't. But it cash flowed nice from the very first day.
Okay.
Anyway, actually, the numbers were so unbelievable, I didn't believe it. So. And my insurance company wouldn't insure the property because even they didn't believe it.
Okay.
It was
Gotta prove it to them.
$150,000 for a 4,000 square foot fourplex. The purchase price.
That's possible. In Baton
after
Rouge.
a hurricane.
Well, the hurricane was it was 70 miles from New Orleans.
So tell me, what are you gonna, like, what's your 24, 48 hour plan here? Like, what are you gonna do this week to take a step?
Well, I'm following up on a couple of properties. I finally got a couple of realtors to call me back on. That Florida property, I don't remember if I told you, but she, or I don't know if,
Yeah.
yeah, she called me back, and it's just like pulling teeth from some of these people. It's like, well, it's not really 18% cap. It's more like 3.5. It's like, yeah, I know the stuff said pro forma, but you got to give me some real numbers. And she said, well, you could do this, you could do that. I said, no. I understand the could part, but tell me the actuals today.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, okay, let's talk about that for a second, right? That was just like, wasn't it like 12 units or 16 units? How many units was that?
yes,
It seemed like it was 16 units.
it was 16 or 12. I can't remember.
Yeah.
now.
Okay. So a part of the, like, yeah. Okay. My philosophy is all conversations are not the end all conversation. Like, you're always having conversations with people so that there's a relationship built for ongoing. So if this deal works, great. If this deal doesn't work, you educate the realtor on what works for you. And when you educate her, him, they get to see that you know what you're talking about. They get to see that you're interested, that you're in the hunt. And as they come across things, people will go, I remember that Mark guy. He's a buyer. Let me call him. So, you're educating your realtor on what it is that you're looking for. Now, you're right. You got to get actuals in your hands to evaluate. So, that conversation sounds like, ma'am, I evaluate deals on two things, but the first pass is on actual. I got to know what kind of financial condition the property is in now. So any help that you can give me to help me with that evaluation would be greatly appreciated. And that looks like a current T12 and a current rent roll. If you can produce those, then I'll go to the next step with you real quickly. It's like you got to speak in an influential way to get off center. Because a savvy realtor doesn't want to spend time with you if they don't determine that you're serious or you know what you're talking about.
Well, that's what pretty much what I expressed to her. That's like, in order for me to present this to my to the business partners of high net worth, I need to know not only its potential, but I have to know what it's currently, what the current status is. Okay. And right. She also told me that the area, that particular area is highly Airbnb, and they're all dead, always, because of what's going on. The beaches are closed. And this particular property is currently not Airbnb. And she was trying to sell me on the Airbnb. I said, but if the place is going to be dead, then there's not much of a market for that.
So you could also ask her about, okay, that's great information. Thank you much. Send me some flailing Airbnb properties. Because you're right. Those are going to be ready. Hey, baby, those are going to be ready for the takeover real soon if they're not already. I mean, if you're an Airbnb owner, and everything's looking uphill for you right now, your way out could be a purchase. I mean, to sell to somebody, right? So
to turn them into straight rentals.
Yeah,
turn them back into what they were originally intended for.
Right, a rental. And then, because that's driven me crazy, although I get it, and I tried to do the same thing too. If I were to sell a property, sell it as an Airbnb, but that should be icing on the cake. You can't rely on that, because the government can come down and say, oh, no more Airbnbs. no more than 106 days per year, which they've done in Palm Springs and other places. I had friends making $100,000 a year on a $500,000 house, killer returns, until they put the brakes on it.
That was by the city?
Yeah, because all the neighbors got together, went to the city. All these old people in Palm Springs said, we don't want young people hanging out and partying next door to us.
I have a neighbor directly across the street, our HOA, no Airbnbs, right?
Right.
Okay. So, but directly across the street, I'll bet you 250 of the 365 days a year, he's Airbnb in it. There's a different person in there almost every weekend.
Yeah, they're all his friends.
And then we have a friend that lives just, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks over, and she does hers twice a month. And she told us, Letitia, I'm just paying the fine that the HOA submits because it's worth it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, back to your point, Mark. So talk to the realtor, say, hey, listen, I know it's tough times. Pardon me, whatever you want to say. But how about some of those Airbnbs? Is any struggling Airbnbs, they might want to sell them? Like, create a partnership with her. A communication partnership. Okay. All right. Hello, Nina.
Hello,
Good,
sorry
yeah.
for the tardiness. I was busy doing some domestic tasks and forgot about the date today, so I apologize.
God, forgot.
Hey, I had some stuff to do, so apologize. I did.
God, that's so out of Nina character.
Actually, you know what? It was really good. I was doing a lot of my 30-day, adding to it, revising it, making improvements to my business plan. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Okay, so you're next because Jesus is going to be last because we have a document we're going to review. Give us like what you're going to be doing, like what you did over the last 4 days and what you're going to be doing over the next 4 days to get that 30-day plan going.
Sure. So I have met with my developer for my CRM. The CRM is Podio, and they have a automatic real estate pack, but I'm designing it specifically to include wholesaling residential, which is only going to last for a little bit, and multifamily. So the way he's designing it is he's actually going to put in fields that will automatically, once I put in the ask price, it'll have the quickie calculator in there. And then he's doing some other things, so it all integrates, and then it'll also have my contracts in there, so I can just immediately send deals. So there's that. I also I posted in the 30-day Facebook page.
Okay.
I did the trial of DocSend, what you recommended, Paul. I really do like it, but their price point is pretty high. However, from a standpoint of returns, one wholesale deal at $100,000 is literally 1% of that, so in terms of the cost for the annual, a little bit more. So it's a really nice service. So I like it, and I've had a little bit of response. What's nice is you can add an NDA right into it so that when people go to the site, they have to accept the NDA. They can download the NDA before they accept it. And then they accept it to log in to view the presentation. They can't download the documents. The whole point is for them to, 1, put their email in, and 2, to contact me, if they want it.
Is this
And
Podio?
that's when I can have that
No, this is
conversation.
DocSend.
DocSend, yeah.
Oh.
But it's the to do that with the NDA and the authentication, that's $150 a month. So I'm on the trial right now, and I'm seeing what the conversion is. Right now is a challenging time because, you put a deal out there. Number one, it has to be a good deal. But you put a deal out there, and a lot of people aren't jumping onto deals right now because of the lending situation, even though there are private lenders. And a lot of the webinars I've been on, I was on the Marcus Millichap webcast. I went to the CoStar meeting. I've been to a few REN meetings. And a lot of investors are not buying right now. They're not they're not, a lot of high asset investors who have capital, who have cash, are not doing anything right now. And even one guy who was interested, I did a presentation for the installment sale for him. He actually had already closed his 1031, and he still has to find his property. So it wouldn't work for him since he already closed. So he's going to either take the tax hit or he's looking for a replacement. And he's not comfortable with the replacement. And the guy he talked to said, oh, I'm not going to do anything until next year. So I'm seeing a lot of high asset investors kind of holding off, with the exception of the other thing that I did, which I joined Michael Blank's Dealmakers Mastermind. And that actually is a great resource because there's so many high asset investors in there. And the way he structures it is it's primarily for syndication. So you can present a deal using his calculator, his syndication deal analyzer. And if investors will give you feedback on it, and if he likes it, he'll invest in it with you. And he'll even provide a proof of funds letter to get it under contract if it goes to that point. So I'm in his mastermind, and that's a huge resource and a huge network for me. So those are some of the things I've done.
Okay. No, you're making
Oh,
progress. Good job.
and then the last thing, the deal that I posted, it's Ed's deal actually, and it's 2 properties in Cincinnati. And I was back and forth with his partner on it because I said, look, Ed, the Cuban guy.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And I was back and forth with our partner on it because it was like piecemeal getting all the data that I needed to do an analysis. And I was almost teaching her kind of how to do it. That's how it felt for me. But she just wasn't giving enough information. And then I was like, there's no way you can do debt on this. There's not enough room here. And I had to be conservative on rehab. And the reality is that it's a cash deal, with the position that it's in. It would be great cash deal. It would be over 11% cap for cash at a 2.2 price.
Cash
but
on
the
cash?
way not cash on cash, 11% cap for a cash deal, no debt.
Wow.
But the problem is that, it still needs about, there's not enough information on the rehab data. So the seller was not forthright with that. But the way it presents, an investor is not going to want it because right now it presents at a current cap of 574 for one and 734 for the other. So they're just not pretty.
Well,
And I kept trying to tell her this isn't going to get anybody. So that's what
do you know
done.
Cincinnati?
What's that?
Do you know Cincinnati well?
I know it pretty well. I would go there. That's where my PhD program is. So my PhD program is hybrid, and we would go to residency in January and July. And I've stayed at Airbnbs there, and I actually told her, I said, maybe you should consider Airbnb on this to bring some dollars in or do it as cash because it just won't sell to a buyer. And I kept trying to tell her from the perspective of an investor, analyze it that way. And she just wants to get it sold. So
yeah, okay. So I live there, and my new brother-in-law grew up there, and his parents just sold their house for $35,000, and they bought it for maybe $30,000 30, 40 years ago. Who knows? Long time ago. And so you got to be careful of what micro neighborhood of Cincinnati. And even then, it may not go up in value ever, is my warning.
No, yeah, the values are kind of, it's a good turnkey for SFR, turnkey rentals. For single family, this particular one is in North Avondale, or both of them. So they're right next to Xavier University and not far from University of Cincinnati in the medical center.
Yeah.
And then Kroger is the biggest employer, and then next is Walmart. Both of them have distro centers. So from the standpoint of this position, I was looking at development, and they have about 3 deliverables this past year that recently delivered that are 4 and 5 star properties that are designed for millennials who are making good money, where they have the business center and the gym and everything, all the amenities.
Okay.
But the minimum vacancy rate on each of those buildings is 28%. So the 4 and 5 stars aren't getting rented. And Michael, I was on a webinar with Michael Blank and Neil Baywa and a couple of other folks, and they were all saying, look, right now, you've got people who are going to be so financially strapped that they're probably going to downsize, sell their homes, or move from their expensive rental into a B class that's been upgraded, that's cheaper.
Yeah.
So, so this particular property, the rents average at the highest $850 a month. So it's ideal for students or ideal for, workers in the service and health industry for who want to save. So it's there, it's a potential, but it has to be cash. You can't leverage on this thing to make it work.
Right. And you got to have a good margin, because the one fear I have in great cash flowing areas like Cincinnati is if your tenant messes the place up and you've got to spend $25,000 to fix it, you've got to spread that out over a really long time to get that money back.
Yeah. Some of it is Section 8 as well.
Hmm.
And, but he's rehabbed a few of them. There's several that still have to be rehabbed, but the rent roll doesn't indicate that you can do upside on some of the units that haven't been rehabbed. So there's a lot of holes in his story as far as what the real position is. But I went ahead and
do
did
a
it for the
search.
experience.
Do a search in the area of apartments that have been recently sold.
I did.
And go back to those buyers. See if they want to add to their portfolio.
Yeah, I did. And the most recent solds were, let's see, there were a couple in February and one in January. So I'll definitely do that. I'll reach
That's
out
close
to them.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Nina.
Thank
Nina.
you. Mhm.
Okay, Jesus, let's take a look at your offer, because this is a big deal. Let me do a screen share here. Let's go to my desktop.
I just put the basics for now. And I didn't remind
Yeah, let's
eventually-
look at it. Let's look at it. Okay, let me put my spectacles on here. All right. All right, letter of intent, offer outlines. Where'd you get all this, by the way?
Crap.
Jesus? What happened?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, what did you say?
Where did you get all of this?
That was the same one, the one you gave us as an example.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think you posted in the group.
It's funny, I don't remember that, but okay. All right, so let's go down the line here. You can make some notes here. There won't be any seller financing. You can remove that. Your
Okay.
purchase price, yes.
Yeah.
You don't need to put down payment. Your purchase price is cash at closing.
Okay.
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 You don't put a down payment because there's no, it's cash at closing. Okay, so your earnest money is going to be 1%. Okay, and your earnest money clause is going to look a little bit something like this. Let me, you can screenshot this. So this offer here was 7.3 million. So 1% of 7.3 million is 73,500.
Okay.
So screenshot that right there, okay?
I got it. I got it.
So you're going to do half,
Okay.
and then after the due diligence period, you're going to do the other half, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, now understand that this is negotiable. Like I have a seller right now that's asking me to put all of this up front instead of half and half. I'm like, okay, because I can go in and it's not going to be non-refundable until after my due diligence period,
Okay.
right? In other words, you can't make money non-refundable until you evaluate the deal in person,
Correct. Okay.
especially in today's environment, okay? All right, so then let's go back over to your document.
Okay.
Where are we here? Number of years the loan amortized. This doesn't apply.
Okay.
Repair allowance. So this is a good clause to have. And let's see, your offer is 4.5 million.
4.7 million. Yeah. Well, they asking for 4.7.
Okay. So, but there wasn't much repair on this one, was there? You're going to leave this.
No, they say we don't have to. We can raise rent right away if we want to.
And it's 82 doors.
Yes.
Is that, if I remember right?
Yes,
Could I-
Okay.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
I don't mean to interrupt the flow. Is there a way to contact the listing, the realtor that you're in touch with regarding this property? Because since, because of things going on in the past week, is there any way to feel out how many of the other offers have fallen out?
Oh,
Well, this is a call for offers. And so the call for offers is April 17th. So what we're trying to do is a preemptive offer. So in other words, he wants to get his offer in and make it nice enough that the seller goes, yeah, I'll pay attention to this guy and just remove my call for offers.
Well, okay, okay, I understand that. However, if you could get some kind of a feel from the realtor that some other offers have fallen out that have been presented so far or withdrawn, maybe you could reconsider. Well, I guess you could reconsider the price after you get more information. Okay, never mind.
Well, to your point though, we did that.
we
I'm
did-
looking for my notes here.
We did. There was a multiple offers. I think the last one was 4.5, the last offer, and there was multiple offers, but they didn't go through because they didn't have enough funding. But we asked that question when we talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, they're down to I think 2 other offers.
Yeah, right.
And I can't put my finger on the notes right now. And it was 4.5 million is where he
Yeah.
was.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Repair allowance, 82 doors, say 1,000 a door. So repair allowance of $82,000. Okay. And yeah, $1,000. So what that is you guys know what this is? What that is you get in and you do the evaluation, the due diligence, and the seller, they say our property is in great condition. So you go in and you do the due diligence, and you find out, just pick something, right? You find out that one of the buildings has, a roof that is in bad shape. Okay. Or you get in there and you find out that there's a whole bunch of broken air conditioning compressors. So this allowance is money that you can claim at closing from the seller to make those repairs.
Okay.
All right. This precludes or prevents the renegotiation of the contract. In other words, you have 2 options. You could go in and you could say, hey, listen, I'm not going to pay you $4.5 million. You got 12 air conditioning compressors that need to be replaced. So I'm going to pay you, $4.3 million. Or that's one option. Or the second option is, okay, we got 12 air conditioners that need to be replaced. That's coming off of your allowance. So, the end result is the same for the seller, but you've just laid it out front.
Okay.
All right. You don't need this clause here. There's no balloon payment because there's no owner financing. Seller to convey the property. Yes, that's fine. Operating statements. Okay. You need some more here.
Okay.
So let's see. Screenshot this. This is what you're going to ask for in the inspection period. All this.
Okay.
And all this.
Got it.
Okay. All right.
I got it.
Schedule well, you've got that. Capital improvements, service contract. Oh, I see. You got it. Okay. You just didn't have it all in. Okay. I see. Yeah, you got it. Seller provide documents. Hey, yeah, perfect. You got it. Copies of leases. Yep. Furniture, fixtures, equipment, inventory. Property owner, seller, transfer of property, including working refrigerator, stove. Okay. Purchase sale agreement 10 days. Okay, this is perfect. You got that. Contingency. Buyer shall have 30 days inspection period following the mutual execution of the purchase and sale agreements and receipt of the above mentioned documents. Okay, this is good. You guys understand why this is so important to read it, to write it this way? It's important to write it this way because your inspection period doesn't start until you receive all the documentation. Inspect the property, approve the property, complete all due diligence. Okay, that's fine. Contractors, that's fine. Buyer to close escrow within 45 days from the end of the inspection period or sooner. That's perfect. Do you have in here the title company? Okay, so you'll need to put here the title company.
Where, Antonio, okay.
Yeah. So let's see if I have a title company clause here. Yeah, I do right here. Here it is. The closing of the purchase and sale, this yellow one,
Okay, I got it.
shall occur in the office of, and this is my closing officer here in Texas. You'll pick one up there in
I'll pick that one.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Security deposit prorated. Okay, all security deposits and prorated rents to be credited to buyer at closing. Okay, there's another clause that I want you guys to include, and let me see if I have it in. And here you go. It's the occupancy. So owner to provide property with occupancy at 90% above. Actually, this should read at time of closing.
Okay,
Okay. Buyer must review and approve any tenants that move into the property after the effective date. Now, who can tell me why this is so important? Anybody?
Because you don't want the property completely vacant. It needs to perform at where it already is.
True. You don't want the property stripped out of tenants. You know, tenants here that there's going to be new buyer, and you know the old adage, new broom sweeps clean, right? So people get freaked out. They're going oh, they're going to come in, jack up our rent, and blah blah blah. You know, rumors. So the owner has to provide the property 90%. The other thing is, notice here it says, buyer must review and approve all new tenants that move into the property after the effective date. So once your contract becomes valid, you, the buyer, get to approve new tenants, because you don't want your seller to be putting in crap tenants that are not vetted, poor credit, bad history, payment risks, right? You want the property you're going to buy to be provided to you with 90% of good tenants.
And when did you say we can approve that?
So this
Okay.
happens at closing. They must produce 90%. That
Okay.
property right now is at 90, was it like 96% or 97% occupied?
That was pretty high, yes.
Yeah, okay. So if anybody leaves between now and the time you close and they put a new tenant in, you get to vet that tenant. You get to make sure, they have to let you know that they're putting that tenant in.
Okay, I got it.
So you don't get a crap tenant.
Right,
Right?
okay.
Because a seller will say, let's just say a seller is, you know, their occupancy is hovering around 88%, let's just say. And they know they got to go find 2 or 3 more tenants to put in, you know, to meet the 90%. And they just put warm bodies in there. You know, they don't really care about the quality of those warm bodies. Well, that affects you. Now you're married to that warm body for the next 12 months.
Right.
Make sense?
But, yeah, and I have a question on that.
Uh-huh.
Let's say it's at 85%.
Mm-hmm.
They have to deliver it at 90% or better.
Mm-hmm.
And you've submitted the LOI.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they want to go out and find a tenant. Then like you said, they're thinking, oh, I'll just do a crap tenant. Well, they can't, because you have the right to do in the due diligence to review those documents for that tenant.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, if you put, let's say it's going to be a 60-day escrow from the time of, when you submit the LOI, essentially all of the timeline is about 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they go ahead and you know, within the due diligence period, they get tenants in there and you don't approve of them, they're still going to need to fulfill that obligation of meeting it to 90%. That means that they're going to probably need more time to find a qualified tenant. So now
Or
that
you-
gives you some more time on closing the deal.
Or you retrade.
Or you retrade, and then here's the next piece on that. With the retrade, well, this is before the retrade. If that's the situation, can the earnest money be written that it's will only go hard after the due diligence of all newly placed tenants has been finalized and approved?
I'll do you one better.
Okay.
No funds will be released hard prior to securing a loan commitment unless specifically stated in the purchase and sale agreement. So, and that's part of what you did a screenshot on. Why this is important, and it matches with this over here, is your lenders are going to require 90%. And I've been posting these videos about the reserves,
Yeah.
right? So they're going to want 18 months reserves if you're less than 90%. So if they want 18 months reserves, the lender, where's my lender? If they want 18 months reserves with this part of the agreement
Mm-hmm.
and this part of the agreement, you have a renegotiation with the seller.
Sure, because then you're telling the seller, look, my lender needs 18 months reserves if you're delivering it at 85%. So I'm going to have to give you a lower price to have my reserves in place.
That's correct.
Something like that.
That's
Yeah.
correct. And at this point in time, April 5th, 2020 or April 6th, 2020, this is a very legitimate conversation.
Absolutely. And actually sellers are motivated and they're going to be more, I've seen that the ones who are selling are motivated because so many buyers have backed out, that they're willing to retrade
Correct.
to get it right. Yeah.
Okay. So title insurance, yes. Security deposit. Okay. Also, I was here. Security deposits and prorated rents to be credited to buyer. Okay. We cleaned that up. Okay. Seller to pay real estate broker commission. Find a clause that sounds better than this. I don't know what mine says. Let me see. Commissions to be paid by the sellers per seller's agreement with seller agent. I mean, you could use that. That's simple enough. What this says is, first of all, this is an LOI, and this is all going to get cleaned up in the purchase agreement. But this is going to need to eventually be more clear. Like the seller is going to pay the seller's agent, and the buyer pays the buyer's agent.
Okay.
Right.
Make it down
You don't
like
want to say that. You don't want to say that just yet, but because that's going to get cleaned up in the purchase agreement, because you don't know the status of the brokers yet. Like there could
Right.
be, a co-broke situation. You don't know all that yet. So I just put simply
Should I remove it or keep it in? You just leave it like that for now.
put this in it right there. Put that in it.
But
What-
Paul, I have a caveat to that on any listing agreement I write up, my listing, the commission the seller is paying me is split between me and the cooperating broker on the buy side. Even if I have a co-listing with another agent or broker on my listing, we're splitting the portion that we're getting, and then the buyer's agent, we're giving them a portion of that commission amount.
Yeah, but that all comes from the seller.
And it all comes from the seller. So
Right.
what I'm saying is that I would never, unless it's the only way to make the deal happen, because that's how I got the listing. I'm not going to tell the buyer's agent that they have to, that the buyer has to pay the commission, because that's going to hurt their bottom line and their cap and everything else. So it always comes from the seller, what they're paying. And yes, it's negotiable, but I would never, I mean, what you have is correct, is what I'm getting at. I would never change it on the purchase agreement that the buyer pays commissions to their agent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you got that, Jesus? All payments related to seller financing shall be funded through the okay, so that's going to come out because you don't have a seller financing. Okay, as is provision. Buyer is aware the property is being purchased in its current condition as is, whereas, well, let's see what I say here.
Okay.
I think that as is clause is not really what we want.
Where's that? one?
There's a wording, there's a verbiage, and let's see, I don't think it's right here. Take that out. Okay, just take it out. Just remove it altogether.
Okay.
Because in the purchase and sale agreement, it'll say something to the effect, I forget the exact wording, but it says as is condition, except under the special conditions paragraph.
Okay.
You know, so that comes filled out when in the purchase agreement.
Okay, I'll remove it. All right.
Okay. Other than that, you're in good shape, I think.
Okay, let me do the couple changes and I'll,
Yep.
It's good.
Yep.
And the numbers work even with this crappy loan on it?
What's the crappy loan? I must have missed that. What's the crappy loan?
I miss it too.
Me too. Everybody missed it.
What's the crappy loan?
Did you just make up a crappy loan for us?
Well, he left. There you go.
So let's go back to, I've got that a bit, I did a little bit of underwriting on that. Let me just, are we still screen sharing? Am I still on the screen here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, where is it? Here it is.
Sorry, somebody's at the door. I thought you were assuming some kind of a loan on this property.
No,
that was
Brad's.
Oh,
Brad.
that was the crappy loan. I'm sorry.
And what's the status on that one, Brad, while I open this up? You can tell them.
Nothing. We're just, they won't come off of 6 million.
Do they still want the loan assumption?
The seller won't even counter anyone's offer.
He doesn't really want to sell it.
He doesn't
can't.
want to
He's
sell it.
hamstrung.
Then he could
Yeah.
buy it from himself, or he can change his mind when he starts to cry when no money comes in.
Our realtor told us that they have 4 or 5 offers between 5.4 and 5.5, and the seller wouldn't counter anyone's offer. He won't move off of 6.
He's really hamstrung.
He's going to have to piece. Yeah.
No, I don't think I did the right one here. I'm sorry.
But
Then he
is
can
he-
lose it.
But is he still requiring the assumption on any offer? Yes, no, maybe so.
I would assume so. I mean, we haven't even been able to get any information. They won't even give us the full T12 or anything that we're trying to ask for.
Oh, he's not a serious guy.
He's not serious. He's just wanted to see if anybody would agree to doing the loan assumption. He's not serious.
What's the name of yours again, Jesus? Jesus, what's the name of yours again? Earth to Jesus,
Hello.
Area 51.
All right. It's Arlington, Arlington.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Get out. Get out.
All right, this is starting to irritate me. Okay, that's not what I was looking for.
So did you make assumptions about the loan, or
Here it is.
have you actually got a loan for this?
No, we just made assumptions. So we did it at a 4% mark. Okay.
Okay.
We did it at a 4%, 25-year term. The expenses looks like about 54% right now. And your offer is 4 million. What's your offer? I don't think 4 million was it. I think it was 4 or 5. What are you going to offer?
Jesus, what's your offer?
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry. 4.4.
4.4.
Mm.
Can we still get lenders down that low for
Yeah.
commercial property?
So it's a DCR of 1.07, which is low. But this is the one where I tell you what, this is I know where we are now, right? This is the DC. Okay, this is the projected. This is the one where the rents are raised 23% to come up to market value. The rents are here, and the rents have a 23% upside to be even with market value.
Mhm.
Okay, and if you do that, now you're at a DCR of 1.62, which is really good.
What's the law in Indiana?
The
How
law?
fast can you increase them? Yeah, well, like in California, you can't increase beyond 5% or whatever it is,
I
or
don't know.
7%.
I don't know. Once you find that out, Jesus.
I need to find that out.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, we
Way
can't
to go,
just suddenly.
Peter. Peter from California. Way to go.
Yeah,
Find that out, okay?
So how fast can I raise the rent?
yeah, and without getting rid of those people and putting. And even if you do get rid of them, you got to find out if there's a law that you can't kick somebody out and then put somebody in at market rent. It's got to be this just incremental increases. At least that's what it is in a horrible state like California.
Find that out, and if it's significant, like you can only raise, you got 23% to work with, okay? Right. So let me see if I still have it up.
So
It
you
could be-
what you want to do, Jesus, you want to go to the cities, and it could be different for each city. So you want, because the
Right.
city is gonna trump the state's requirement if the city's requirement has a higher requirement. So you want to go to the city's website, and you're just going to type in, where is it, Indianapolis? You're going to type Indiana. I don't remember where it is, but Indianapolis, and then in quotes, rent laws, and then see if you can find the city's website about tenants. Tenant laws. You can even put in there, and then find out, one, how much can you increase rents? When can you increase rents? And what's required to increase rents? And what Pete was saying is, in California, if you move somebody out, before you can increase the rents, you have to prove that it's at market value, meaning you've upgraded or done value add to the unit.
Oh, okay.
So that's my 2 cents.
That makes sense.
That was a good piece of information. Listen,
that was a little
you got
bit-
23% to work with. If you raise it 5%, you're at a 1.19 DCR. If you raise it 10%, you're at a 1.31 DCR. If you raise it 15%, you're at a 1.43 DCR.
Well, what's it? Okay. Sounds good.
And we've factored in 23%. So you
And-
got
and it-
0 to 23 to work with.
And if they're already livable units, and you don't have the money or the ability to increase it in value that much because of the state of the neighborhood and the building overall, then you got to worry about, okay, if I increase it 3%, 5%, what's the likelihood of this person moving out? And then I got to put in time, waiting time, and marketing dollars to put another person in there for just the 3% increase or 5% increase, because you can't put a gold polish on your chrome because the neighborhood only requires chrome.
Right. So like
So
you have to know
let's-
your comps, your rent comps, to see what are people actually, apartments.com,
Right.
what are people actually paying for rent? And
Yeah.
then that's going to tell you the cap you can increase by to get to what your upside is.
So you can go to Rentometer, RENTO,
There you go.
rentometer.com, and get all that. Here's really what's going to happen, okay? You're going to make the offer. They're going to accept your offer. You're going to get into your due diligence period. You're going to call a property management company, and they're going to meet you there.
Okay.
And you're going to say, can you manage the rehabs? Even though they're just low, there's low end rehabs. We factor $2,000 a door or something like that. $3,000, just paint, right? Lipstick. Can you manage? And what's your plan to keep this thing 100% occupied at the biggest rent I can have?
Okay.
Right?
And yeah, let them talk, because if they look at the numbers, the rent numbers, oh my gosh, I can kill these with an extra $100, $200 a door, then great. But if they say, oh, this is about right, then, whoa, okay. And then
Yep.
you got to worry about backing down on your offer or something.
So you got a nice, strong offer. You got a good LOI. You get it accepted. And then you mobilize. You know, you get in there and you start evaluating every door with the property management, because you're not going to manage that. I mean, 82 doors, you got to have, you know, you got to have outsource.
Right. That's
Okay.
correct. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, guys. That's a lot of information. Thank you.
That was some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Y'all can-
And then maybe talk to 2 or 3 different rental management. Well, you should be able to find that in Indianapolis, at least 3 management companies, and let them talk without you talking, and just show them the numbers. Hey, what do you think about these rent dollars, these actual rent dollars? And let them say, oh yeah, this is about right, or oh, we could kill it with a lot more money, or you know, whatever it is.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, guys. Y'all want to meet again on Thursday? That's 4
Yes.
days from now. Thursday, 9 a.m. Central. All right. Mark,
All
go
right.
find an Airbnb that doesn't want to be an Airbnb anymore.
Hey, Paul,
Yes.
aren't we doing my interview on Thursday or is it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay. All right.
All right. See you guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.